everybody's trying to figure out if Saquon Barkley is going to break Eric Dickerson's record for the rushing record. Now, it just came out. Somebody must have talked to Eric Dickerson. He put out a quote, and he asked, did he want Saquon to break his record? And he said no. And everybody is just aghast. And I'm like, well, what did you think he was going to say? There are some people that would be like, hey, I'm great. I appreciate it. You know, good for the young fella. He's not begrudging Saquon Barkley, but he wants to keep his record. I ain't got no problem with that. I don't want nobody to break all my records. All my rushing records. I still got a couple records left in, you know, all-time leading rusher in the OVC and at Eastern Kentucky. And yeah, I want to keep those records because that's how you are remembered, especially the way sports are these days. The only thing you've got left is if you put something down that can't be broken. So I understand Eric Dickerson from that point of view. I don't understand why everybody's getting bent out of shape because he said, I want to keep my record. Do you think he's not going to say congratulations if he breaks his record? And if you want to say it's sour grapes because he got 17 games versus 14 games or whatever it was, that's fair. But even I had that train of thought, but I had to look up some numbers. So check this out. I had to look up some numbers. And don't get it twisted. Eric Dickerson was a bad man. And he did his thing in 14 games in 1984. But here's what I want you to see. We're going to look up some stats. Let me see if I can blow this up for you a little bit. Get this closer. Okay, there we go. So check this out. He broke that record in 1984, right? So he had 2,105 yards. He had 379 carries in 14 games. So he was loaded up. They were giving him the ball. So, but I want you to take a look at Saquon. Now, Saquon, he has, let's see if I get the, right now, he's got 314 carries with 1,838 yards, right? So let's do the math. So if you got 379 minus 314, so Saquon has 65 carries to break that record. I think he can get it. So I'll take those 60, and I'm just doing this mathematically. If you take those 65 carries that he has left times his 5.9 yards a carry, that's 383 yards. So if he at least matches the 379 carries, he will break that record. But that's a lot of carries in 2 games. So he can do it. He can more than do it with his yards per carry. And mind you, he's still averaging 5.9 yards per carry after that Washington game when he had like 26 yards on 21 carries in the second half. That really dropped his average. So he should be over 6. So if he gets the same amount of carries, he's going to break the record. He might even break it in less carries. Because I'm thinking he could get, if he has 40 carries against the Cowboys and against the Giants, he can definitely get that in 40 carries. But what it's going to come down to is how Kenny Pickett plays. If Kenny Pickett shows himself to be up to the task of being the backup quarterback, Saquon is going to get his carries, but he's not going to get that many. Or the Cowboys and the Giants will say, screw it. Kenny Pickett, go crazy. But you're not running on us. You're not going to get this record on us. That is a very real possibility. So, while I understand Eric Dickerson saying, no, I don't want him to break my record. I get that. But he has a legitimate gripe with that, I guess. Gripe is not the right word, but I totally understand him saying, no, I don't want him to break my record. I'm good with that. You were the best to ever do it, bro. And you want to keep it that way. I ain't got no problem with that. So everybody's not going to be like real humble and just non-assuming like Barry Sanders. Most people not going to do that. Most people are not going to be like Saquon and let their young boys eat and all of that. Everybody doesn't have that personality. That's not Eric Dickerson's personality, and that's okay. Don't mean he's a bad guy. That just means he wants his record to stand in the NFL, and I totally get that. So how about this? How about the Eagles go into this game with the Cowboys and they go into the next game with the New York Giants and they handle their business on the line of scrimmage and don't let Dallas and New York do to them what Washington did. You think they're not watching that tape, putting 8, 9 people in the box? You know they're gonna do that. They are going to see 8 men in the box the next 2 games, and it's up to Kellen Moore and that offensive line to match it. Because you know it's coming.